Welcome back to another awesome episode of Behind the Anvil. I'm your host, Michael Peterson. Tonight we're joined with John of JCT Knifeworks?
JT Knife Works.
JT Knifeworks. Well, it says JCT there, so I'm figuring sure. I got to screw this up some point in the beginning here. So we're going to
Yeah,
do
I wouldn't expect any less.
right. Hey, at least I haven't gotten tongue-tied yet. I already did that twice when I was doing the little real video. But let's jump into it, JT. John, give us a little background about who you are, where you came up with. Now, I know you said you're a military brat.
Yep, I'm an Army brat. Grew up on 4 different continents.
Let's dive let's start there. Beginning, middle, passing through life. We're not at the
Yeah,
end yet.
yeah. Well, I got 2 sisters. We were all born on different continents. I was born in Italy. Middle sister was born in Maryland, and my little sister is kind of multi-continental. She was conceived in Turkey and born in Ethiopia.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't want to know how you know when she was conceived, but yeah, that works.
Well, I know when she was born, and you can just go back 9 months, and you
Ah,
know that we weren't in Ethiopia 6 months before she was born.
oh, there you go.
So there you go. And before that, we were in Turkey.
Well, gobble gobble.
Yeah,
So
they don't do much gobbling there.
probably not. We'll get to share a little bit about you. Give us a little brief background about yourself, your kind of life story, and then we'll dive into the knives and how you got started there.
Yep. Well, I was born in Italy, and then back and forth across the Atlantic, um, multiple times from the East Coast of the United States to the West. Graduated from high school in Germany, and then Dad got transferred back to Texas right after I graduated. So that's how I ended up. That's how I ended up in Texas. Spent 10 years in fast food restaurant management, and then got into pest control about 36 years ago. Um, Self-employed, one-man company, which is totally different than when I was in restaurant management. The busiest restaurant I ran was a Burger King on an army post in Germany, and I have 4 assistant managers and 197 hourly employees. Um, I rather like the idea of only having one employee, and that's me.
I like that. I can
Yep,
relate.
yep. There's accountability.
That and you don't have to worry about this or people calling in sick or I got a headache. They're not doing this. It's like raising kids, I guess.
Yep, yep. Well, and I tell folks I work. Tell folks I work because of my habits. I got these habits of sleeping indoors and eating food, so I work
There you go.
for my habits.
Yeah, hey, it could be worse habits out there.
Yes, this is true.
Um, excuse me there. So what is it like growing up, basically growing up abroad?
It's you're moving every 1 to 3 years, so uh, there's constantly. And the way my mother did it was she would take and contact the Chamber of Commerce or get some information about things to see and do about where we were going, and then for about 90 days, from about 90 days out, she'd start a countdown of 89 and a wake up, 88 and a wake up, 87 and a wake up until it was moving time. And she always tried to frame everything in a positive manner where we're going. And the other thing I learned is that if it's inevitable, which moving is inevitable, leaving friends behind is inevitable. There's nothing you can do about it. You just learn how to adapt and roll with the situation. If you can't change it, don't stress it. Um, I I know several really good curse words in Eritrean, which is an Ethiopian dialect. I was there when I was fourth and fifth grade, so that's what little boys learn. Bad words.
What was that like living over in Ethiopia? I've never been out of the United States, so I was like, what do you remember much of that or?
Oh, I remember a fair amount because I was 8 to 11. And first thing you got to know about being a military brat is uh, if it's Army, it's going to be a post. If it's Navy or Air Force, it's going to be a base. And so whether it be a post or a base, depending on which, it's uh, it's America. You have a post theater, you have a post exchange, which is the Walmart. You've got the post grocery. It's called the commissary, and that's like your Albertsons, Kroger, HEB, depending on where in the country you are. It's your grocery store. So you get your Walmart, you got your grocery store, and entertainment. They'll have bowling alleys. So it's America comes with the military. Now, once you venture out, then you're on what they call the economy. What we always called the economy, and that was anything off post. Where we were in Ethiopia was, which is now Eritrea, was the city of Asmara, and it had the most absolute beautiful, perfect weather year round of any place I've ever been. Because here you are, close to the equator, and it sits a mile and a half in altitude.
Wow.
So it was like 75, 80 degrees year round.
Nice.
Never really got hot, never really got cold. The quarters we lived in had no heat or air conditioning because we didn't need it. Um,
How
so
was how was the mosquitoes? You had any problem with them?
not so much there. The But it was kind of cool when you left post and you left the town of Asmara. Um, it was like the Wild West. Now, mind you, being close to, was it 7,500, 8,000 feet in altitude, you're going to have to go down a mountain to go anywhere. And Ethiopia is very mountainous. But,
Didn't know that.
huh?
I was gonna say I didn't know that.
Yeah, um, and it was wild. It Now when we did a vacation trip, we did that is we got several families together and we caravanned. When it was time to stop for the night, we'd all find a big flat spot on the side of the road and camp.
Nice.
Because there were no hotels, restaurants. You Everything you want to eat, everything you want to drink, you brought them with you.
Yeah, I think we're a little spoiled in this country, even back when this was what, Bobby,
This
60s, 70s?
Yeah, this was 68 to 71.
So
Um,
you're saying you've been around a minute.
yeah, and you have these folks that are talking about water rationing. The great drought that got all the We Are the World publicity in the 80s started in the 60s. On post, we were on water rationing. We had running water for an hour in the morning and an hour and a half in the evening. 2.5 hours of running water a day, and the rest of the time, turn on the tap, nothing comes out.
That sure makes you probably appreciate things a lot in life.
Oh yeah. When we were living in Turkey, which was just before Ethiopia, we were there during the 6 Day War, and my dad, I was like first grader, second grader at the time, and my dad had me outside with him, and we had to black out our quarters so no light was escaping, just in case things spilled over and we got targeted. I can trace a lot of where I was in the world by world events.
That's kind of so what did your dad do in the service? What was, his MOS or job or however you want.
Uh, well, you gotta love the letters and everything with the military. He was NCOIC S4. NCOIC is non-commissioned officer in charge. He was a master sergeant, and S4 is supply and logistics.
I kind of, for some real reason, maybe I've listened a little bit more with my dad growing up, or anybody get talking, or all my friends, and so maybe I kind of understand some of it, not exactly specifically, but kind of understand it somewhat.
Yeah, and supply and logistics is just making sure that the people and materials are in the place that they need to be when they need to be there.
Now, just why it's in my head right here. So you were saying about the food and basically on post, on base, whatever you want to call that. Um, was the food brought in from U.S. or just bought locally and then brought in, or?
Oh, it depends on it. I know that when we were in Ethiopia, there was a period of time where the Suez Canal was blockaded, and our fresh dairy was coming out of Italy and traveling through the Mediterranean and then through the Suez into the Red Sea. And when it was blockaded, there was no fresh dairy. Now, at that particular post, my father was a sergeant first class at the time, and he was NCOIC at the commissary. Um, and for like 8 months, the only kind of milk we had was powdered or canned. Um, Dad came home from work one day, and we had white milk, buttermilk, chocolate milk, sour cream, cottage cheese. They started finally bringing it in by air. He just came walking in with just a gallon of milk, and we thought we were in hog heaven, man.
I'll bet. So
Because
they didn't really, so they didn't purchase anything really locally, or
with that stuff, no, you had to be careful with um, with where you got your food off post. It wasn't a lot of health departments.
true.
Now going off post was cool. We talked about the trips.
Yeah.
Just driving along and seeing roaming hyenas and baboons and stuff. That was interesting.
Did you eat any of the local wildlife when you were growing up?
Um, I remember at one of the barbecues or something that we were invited to. Somebody brought, I think it was warthog. It was roast warthog, and I remember tearing it up, man.
Nice.
Thought whatever I was eating was the best meat ever.
There you go.
But Dad was not. My dad was not a hunter. I didn't. I didn't pick that up for myself and do any hunting until I was in my probably in my 30s. My dad was a damn fine dad and very good at what he did and work, but outdoors, build things mechanical, um, hunting. Those weren't that he wasn't. That wasn't part of his skill set.
No. Well, that's understandable, especially being where he's at in the military. I guess that's what you'd kind of focus on mainly, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Especially,
Well, one of his friends in Ethiopia um, was a big game hunter, and he would go down to Kenya. And I remember he gave my dad a hyena mount, a gazelle, and a baboon.
nice.
And growing up, that the hyena always hung over my bed. The baboon was always in the living room, as well as the gazelle. And during about 11 months of the year, that baboon wore a safari hat and sunglasses.
Nice.
And then 1 month of the year, he wore Santa Claus hat and beard.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it. But no, it was a neat way to grow up. The upside is I got to see a lot of the world. Um,
I'm gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. It would be kind of, um, yeah, I mean, it would probably wouldn't have been easy. Well, I never really had a lot of friends anyway, but to have that education abroad, I think that's what
well,
a lot of us
well,
lack today. Honestly, even though we got these stupid phones that we can look into the world, but
well, everything comes at a cost.
true.
Okay, so what I did not get was um, I don't have a feeling of any place that I call home. There's no roots. Yeah, I've been in San Antonio for 36 years now, but it still doesn't. It doesn't feel like roots. It doesn't. This is the place. Like this is not the place I grew up. In fact, the places I grew up because I'm not. I did not serve in the military, so I do not have an ID card, and I do not have access to any of the posts and base that may still be around where I grew up. So don't have a feeling of home. And the other thing I didn't get was a any kind of relationship with my extended family um, beyond once or I saw my grandpa a few times as well as my aunts and uncles, but I did not grow up around my extended family. So, you know, uh, I'm not salty about it. I mean, first off, what was salty about it here because it's that's history. It happened. It's done.
Hmm.
I just know the when I can talk to somebody that's jealous about it, you went to all these places. I said, well, this is what I didn't get, and
Fair enough.
and it's you can't be upset about it. You just know that, but you know the cost of what you got.
Yes. So after Ethiopia, right? Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
we're from there, and then when you finally come around back to the States, and then you
yeah. Well,
basically you kind of live a similar to a nomad life. So
yeah, yeah, and we don't know where we're going next until shortly before. We know that we're going to be, say, at Vent Hill Farms for 3 years, but we don't know where we're going to be after Vent Hill Farms until so many months before we move, and that's when they'll tell my dad when they would tell my dad, okay, here's your next duty station. Um, so there's no control, but what's control really do for you?
don't know. When I find out, I'll let you know because
It
uh
really doesn't do anything for you having control.
right.
You
Even if
know,
you think you do have control of things, do
it's an
you?
illusion.
Yep, it's just an illusion. That's for damn sure. It's one thing that's been uh, a hard lesson to learn, if that makes sense.
Hey, you got to put your faith in a higher power
Yes, I agree 100%.
and
Uh,
understand that there's a plan, and you're along for the ride, and just listen to the whispers and follow the plan.
yeah, um, I couldn't have said that any better than so Ethiopia. Where did we go to?
Oh, that was for Ethiopia. It was uh, to Virginia, and then right after Virginia, my dad spent a year in Thailand, and it was what we call a short tour. It was kind of like the year that he spent in Korea and the year that he spent in Vietnam. 3 different years growing up that my father was not a part of my life. The only contact I would have with him during those times would be snail mail. This was the '60s and the '70s. The idea of being able to make a phone call definitely was no email.
I think I remembered uh, Dad talking to somebody. another veteran, and they were reminiscing about, they'd make a phone call home and they'd have to patch it through different ham
Operators,
radio,
you gotta say over.
yep, ham radio operators just to
Uh-huh.
you had like 3 minutes conversation and or even sometimes less than that just to take 20 minutes just to have a 3 minute conversation. Hi, I love you, miss you.
Yeah.
And then
And as much as my dad loved us kids, let's face it, if you're getting 3 minutes every 6 months to
you're
talk
lucky.
home, you're gonna talk to mama, not the kids.
Yep.
Um, but once again, there was something I had no control over. Did I missing? Yeah. Um, sure would have been nice if we'd had the yeah, it sure would have been nice if we'd had the communication abilities that kids today have
Mm,
with their family members that are overseas and serving.
right. Well, I think that's something we definitely take for granted. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents lived 10 minutes away. When I was just like 4 or 5, up till I was probably about 8 years old, maybe a little less than that. It was long distance phone call to my grandparents, and they're in the same county. If
Yeah,
if it wasn't in the 529 area, like North Severe area, if it was over at Richfield or anywhere outside that or the next
yeah.
county over,
If you were if you
that
were
was
on the
long
border,
distance,
if you're on the border, you could throw a rock and be in another area code.
right? What things have changed, and we had these things with telephone cords. Sometimes we'd have the 20-footer one when the other sibling you'd yell on the phone, and another sibling
Yep.
come by, you'd try to hang them with. But people's like ham radio, what's that? Well, they would patch phone calls through different through around the world to bounce that signal around,
Yep.
and
And these weren't people doing it for money. The ham operators, they're just amateurs, just like basically any of us. Yeah,
mhm.
average. And they were doing it just to be a service.
Yep.
You know, it's, God bless them, and nice folks.
You kind of when like I said, I was just a young kid when they were talking about that. Matter of fact, I believe the other guy that was discussing was another ham radio operator that when my parents were. My dad was mainly into the ham radios in the mid to late 90s. That was a big thing around here. Everybody had to go out and get that, and it kind of tapered off. It's trying to pick back up now, but so
Yeah, yeah. In the '70s, it was CV. It was the CV.
10-4, Roger that, kicker back.
Uh-huh.
I spent a lot of time on a CB being on a truck driver, so
Yeah. Uh,
so
Smokey and the Bandit.
let's bring it into when you come see. So Texas, I guess the whole family came to Texas and settled in.
Yeah, just a couple of years after we came here is when my dad came to Texas. My dad retired, and he passed away at age 43 from massive heart attack.
Oh,
Um, and that has colored my life. It made me appreciate just how brief our time here can be. 43, I had no idea how young it was. I was 21. Had no idea how young 43 was until I got to 43.
well, I'm 40 now, so I can understand that. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm 65 now.
I thought you were 45. It just life as a knife maker just really aged you.
No,
No.
it's raising children that ages you.
Ah,
Yeah,
I'm
and son
finding
is
that out. I've got a teenager, and I'll tell you what, there's anyway.
uh, I've raised several teenagers, both male and female, and I can't tell you one is much worse than the other. Although I will tell you that I did something with my eldest son that I would not do with one of the daughters. Um, my eldest son got a little full of himself, and I asked him to take out the trash, and he told me "F you."
Ooh, I know where this is going.
Yeah. Now, and I did with him what I would never do with a daughter, or never did with a daughter. The way my son tells that story, he said, number one, that fat old man was a lot faster than I thought he was. And he says, number two, as I was laying on the floor looking up at him, I decided I didn't want to say that to him again.
No, bet not. That's that'll be the accumulation of F around and find out about it.
Yeah, he found out, and and I didn't hit him. I was just in his face, and then pushed him in the chest. He flew 10 feet across the room, hit the wall, collapsed to the floor. By the time he hit the floor, I was standing over him, my fist cocked, just standing there saying, "Say that again, boy. Say that again." He was 17 at the time.
Sometimes they just need a good old setting in the ways.
Yeah, well, my way my dad described it, he said, "Son, when I ask you to do something, I expect, out of respect, that you'll do it." He said, "Let me take just a moment here, son, to define the word respect for you. Respect is a healthy mixture of admiration and fear. And son, if you don't have enough admiration, by God, I'll have your fear."
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, John was short on admiration. My son, John.
I had a plenty of fear.
Yeah. So he was short on admiration. He was short on fear. And I shared with him several years later. I said, because we've got a great relationship now. It's outstanding. And but I said, "I'll share you something with you now." I said, "When I did it, I wasn't mad." I said, "I had tried every other method possible to rectify the behavior. I used every parental trick I had, and there was only only one left I hadn't tried, and that's the only one you left me." He said, "Yeah, Dad, and I bet you knew you were going to use it too." I said, "I was hoping I wouldn't, but I knew that the next time this is what I'm going to have to do to get your attention." He said, "Well, it worked. It got my attention."
Well, I bet he didn't lose it either.
We got the respect that we needed, and unfortunately, it took adding a little fear into the mix.
That's understandable.
But I don't like ruling. I don't like running things on fear.
No, I get that, and I know exactly what you mean because growing up and everything else kind of had a lot of that, unfortunately, sometimes, but most of the time it was pretty good, but
You know,
still.
I had a suitable amount of fear instilled in me. I will say that the day that Dad defined the word respect for me, I was quite the suck up. I was about 13. I said, "Daddy, you got no idea how much I respect you."
What do you want, boy?
I said, "No, no." He just gotten done telling me it's a healthy mixture of respect and fear. I said,
Ah,
"Daddy, you got no idea how much I respect you,
there you go.
or admiration. Healthy mixture of admiration and fear. You got no idea how much I admire you, Daddy." I was always able to uh, respond. I was a lot better about responding to just you explain the situation to me,
Mhm.
and I get it. My eldest son, I tried explaining the situation to him. He didn't get it. But,
Hard lesson learned. How that saying go?
yep. Yeah, I raised two sons and married into three daughters. The girls were 12, 13, and 18 at the time. They're now, two of them have children of their own. In fact, both of them have three each.
Nice.
Yep. And I have found something that's 10 times better than children.
Grandchildren.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll touch on that. Do you want to jump into that now, or do you want to wait till we get through the knives?
Oh, we go wherever you want to go, Michael. Ah.
Well, let's bring it into You come back to Texas, so we're back to
I
Texas now.
come back to Texas and for years, um, I, I've been doing pest control for 36 years now. And I've always liked doing something with my hands. Um, I've built furniture, turned bowls and pans. I've done fishing flies. There was always an evolution of it, and uh, especially with the pans, my pest control can be real seasonal. In fact, this time of year, my income will drop 60, 70%. It just gets slow.
You
So
say
I've
that's
always
not
looked
election.
at
That must be in the not an election year, huh?
it doesn't matter what's election year or not election year because
We were talking about past, the election year, all them pesky politicians.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, trying to throw a joke in there. Apparently, won't.
Crashed and burned, man.
Anyway, go ahead and continue there. You pest
So
control.
yeah, January, uh, December, January, February, always are bad. So I looked for something to fill that and that I could sell, that I make and sell, and sold pens for a while, turned pens and sold them, and then I got to watching that TV show,
Oh, the Forged in Fire.
Forged in Fire, season one.
You believe
Uh,
that's been over 10 years ago?
yeah. Uh, and then season two, and and it was kind of bouncing around in my head. Yeah, I can do that. No, I don't want to spend all that money on equipment. Yeah, I can do that. No, I don't want to spend all that money. I can't do it with all of the equipment. Going back and forth. And finally, season three, um, I'd watched a couple of guys on YouTube, and they were getting by on basically just forge a hammer and an anvil and drill press. And I already had drill press, so all I needed to have was a forge, a hammer, and an anvil. From all the woodworking, I had a lot of other equipment.
Nice.
Um, then I had to get, then I looked at a 2x72. And back then it was Oregon Blade Maker. That was my first 2x72. It's now Origin. It's not Oregon. Got some kind of trouble over the name. I don't know.
Yeah, there
Uh,
was some kind of conflict between them and another one, and I remember reading on it. I'm not 100% sure what that was about. I think it was something about supposedly they were copying each other. Their plans were a little too close to theirs and their name and blah blah blah. So they had to switch up stuff. Who knows? It's
yeah.
small stuff under the bridge. They're
So,
damn good.
but once I got started in it, uh, I started doing. There were a couple of classes that I saw advertised on Facebook here in town. Like hammer ins and what have you. And guys like Tobin Yetto, James Helm, James Hughes, some of the OG with the Forged and Fire. And I got a drive to become part of that brotherhood, a desire to become part of that brotherhood.
You got
And
you got bit by the bug. You're saying.
yeah, and I wanted to be part of that group. They were neat people, nice people. Um, it just felt right. So about a year or so later, I see the casting call on Facebook, um, which the casting process was like 7 months long.
Took me a
But
year.
from the time that from the time they put out the casting call to the time that I actually got filmed on the show, that was like 8, 9 months. Because the casting call requested, sent an email requesting an application. From the application, it went to the telephone interview. Telephone interview went to Skype interview, and then from the Skype interview, it went to background check.
Hmm.
And then from the background check, it was okay. You've been accepted as part of season 6 casting. We should be giving you a holler 2 weeks before filming the episode we want you to appear on. We'll give you 2 weeks notice so that you can get prepared. And as it turned out, I got let's see, I think it was a call on a Wednesday that they wanted me to fly out Monday because they had suddenly added an extra episode to the season. So if I just we were the very first episode filmed for season 6.
And was this the new? Were you in the new studio shop, or was this
Yeah,
still when you were
we were. Yeah, because season 5, I believe, was also in
Connecticut? Yep.
Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah, from there on was all in Stanford, Connecticut. I think.
Yeah, um, but we were also the very first episode that had a 4-day. Actually, it's 3.5, but 4-day finals. We were the first episode. They shortened it. They took a day off.
Yep.
Which came as a surprise when Jeff and I were standing up front, and they said, "Okay, we're going to send you back to the home forge, and you got 4 days." What the fuck? What? What happened to 5? No, it's 4.
That's right. You went up head to head with Jeff Peters. That's right.
Yep. Yep.
Shout out to Jeff Peters. I gotta get him on here. I know I've reached out a few times, so I'll tell him, hey, JT came on here. You said called you out. I have to get you on the show now.
No, I didn't call him.
Oh,
Jeff is good. Jeff's good people.
Yes,
Jeff's
he
good.
is.
And it was kind of cool that the finals testing, the show itself was everything that we wanted in a show, where it comes down where both the blades passed all the tests, and it came down to a judge's decision. And both of us agreed that those were our favorite types of episodes. But no, but I took up the knife making to add to my family income, and something I can, when you really boil it down, I make about $10 an hour making knives. After you take out, I sell my basic Cape Master for $225. And when you take out the cost of all the materials, all the consumables, and the amount of time it takes to create one, including the sheath, I make about $10 an hour. But $10 an hour is still better than $0 an hour.
Correct.
And this is something that I can wrap around my day job. So if I have a rainy day where I can't work, I've got a shop to go in and do something productive.
Yes, sir. Let's step back just a little bit. How long, after you've been watching Forge Fire, you got into how long until before going on Forge and Fire were you making knives? I part-time on the side.
I've been at it 18 months.
18 months. Okay.
18 months. I had no idea how much I didn't know.
There's still a lot of stuff I don't know. I grew up around it.
Yeah. I absorb things like a sponge. I just suck all that information in. So I learn really quick, but that the motor skills take a long time to develop.
Yep. That's one thing when I'm doing knife classes and I explain to them, says, look, what I'm about to show you, I'm going to make it look very, very easily. But you got to remember, I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. And believe me, I burned up a lot of belts, a lot of blades, ruined a lot of things. when I first started out. It took me a long time, probably from the time when I really, really sat down and got into it. I was about 13. From about 13 till I was about 15 when I decided that I needed a truck or, get my driver's license and everything else. I needed some money. Well, you wanted money, you go earned it, whatever.
Yeah.
And I got into it, and I'd say I got really, really good on the grinder part. The forging's not so much on the blades, but I got really good at grinding through my high school years. I made a lot of money making and selling knives. A lot of it I dumped in my truck and then decided that I needed to chase girls, and wish I'd have been a little smarter and put more of that money away and investment and such, but I didn't have a clue on
Well,
that.
it's the two things. It's the two things to get just about every teenage boy. We call them the fumes: the exhaust fume and first fume.
Yes, sir.
The fumes get us all.
Yes, it does. I never thought of it that way, but I like that. Oh, heaven.
I had a football coach. he was he was kind of a unique individual. He said he tell us, boys, I want you in bed by 10 and home by 12.
There you go. So you went on Forge and Fire. You ended up in the third round with Jeff Peters.
Uh huh.
Um, how was that experience for you? I mean, for me, it opened up a lot of doors to a lot of friends, your
Oh,
present
it opens
company
up.
included,
Yeah, well, you become part of a brotherhood, and it's something that
the
you
family.
and I might have zero commonality, but aside from the knife making, but the forged and fire deal, it becomes a brotherhood. It was, and that was part of what drove me to want to be part of it. In fact, that was the main thing that drove me to be part of it. Um,
Well, I do know you got great taste in whiskey. That's for damn sure. 'Cause, last couple of times there at down in Belleville,
Belleville.
there, hey, come over, try this little bit, try this bottle. Ooh, there's some. Oh, that's some good smooth stuff.
Hey, I found one recently.
Ooh,
Uh,
dive
that's
into this.
it's like in the mid 30s, and it's by Wild Turkey. It's called Long Branch.
I'm
Uh,
not much of a wild turkey fan, but that's 101. I don't does not mean that don't
no,
agree.
well, here's I almost didn't buy it because it was Wild Turkey. I viewed that as some kind of cheap crap. Um, but I went ahead. The Long Branch was just a little bit different. Little bit different bottle. Just something told me to try it, and it was a very mellow, very balanced. Uh, no big burn, no big sweet. It wasn't like drinking. Oh God, what was that? I'm trying to remember what it was. Used to enjoy it years ago. It was super sweet. It was a whiskey, but it was almost like a liqueur.
Ooh,
So sweet. I'll have to do a defrag on the computer later and see if I can jumble my memories back together.
there you go.
Uh, but no, think about Gunsmoke
Mm-hmm.
and the name of Miss Kitty's establishment.
Yep.
It's a Long Branch Saloon.
And that was here in Utah, Southern Utah.
Yeah, but Long Branch whiskey by Long Branch bourbon by Wild Turkey. Um, it's worth the buy.
Nice. Let's see if
And
we
as
can
you've
get
already
that
said, I have decent taste in bourbon.
there. Yeah. I'd stop down at the my kind of thing is when I go to out of state and such, and try to see if I can find a local wine or a local whiskey and such. Just my kind of
Uh-huh.
thing because I like to collect the bottle. I'm probably going to start just collecting it in the bottle, not drinking it because getting a little older, and if I get more than one mixed drink in me, I start getting a little itchy on the arm, a little hot flashes. Like okay, so
Yeah, I don't do mixed drinks to speak of. Um, I will occasionally pour a finger to a bourbon and sip it. I think it's been about 3-4 weeks since I've done that. Since I've had a glass of bourbon, or
Um,
my 2 fingers.
I can't think of
Uh,
the name of it right off the top of my hand, but I know when I was reading on the bottle, it was a blend of 5 different distilleries in Texas. And I'll tell you what, that stuff was yummy.
Talking about the
That
TX
bottle,
bourbon.
huh? Oh
Was it
no,
the
it was a
TX?
whiskey. It was a whiskey. Taste of Texas. I want to say it was
Okay.
Yellow Rose or something like that.
Oh,
Something.
okay. Well, if you ever figure out exactly what it was, tell me. Uh, and just like I'm recommending the Long Branch, I'll give whatever you
All right.
try.
Oh, I got to know I got a bottle in here. Last time I went down there was one that had Texas A&M on the bottle, and I think that was made by the same, came out of the same distillery as well, and I think it had multiple different. But I'll tell you what, that stuff was that first time I went down, I found that bottle. The gal there, the liquor store there, helped me out, and it didn't make it home. It didn't make it. It was good. I mean, sipping on it, just sipping on it. I like my mixed drinks because I'm retarded, I guess, or however you want to call it.
Well, I think you got to
For,
be tarded first before you can be retarded.
I'm a little bit of both. I'm special, and not just because my mommy said so. um, so Fortune Fire. That was let's see. I think you were on season 4, right? Or
No, season 6.
season 6. That's right.
We were
That's
the
been about
we were the
7
first
years for you.
episode filmed in season 6,
That's right.
and
That's
18th episode aired.
for some reason I had in my mind that you guys were on season. You guys came after early. I was in season 5, episode 37. So after that, what? How did that help you out? What did I'm sure
Well,
that
yeah,
made
no, for Bladesmith, I mean, there's a certain number of people that would be attracted to trying something I made simply because of having been on the TV show. Um, but I give James Hughes credit for this too. Um, and James was the Force and Fire episode winner, the Sword Breaker,
yes, that was a good
and
episode.
you know he said, John, I want to be known as a bladesmith and a knife maker that happens to have been on a TV show. I don't want the TV show to define me. My work has got to speak for itself, and there comes a time when no matter how much personality or charisma you have, if you're not producing um, fit and finish and performance on your pieces, it doesn't matter how much notoriety you got, your stuff's not going to stand up, and you're eventually not going to be continue to sell what you make.
This is correct.
So
Uh,
the Forge and
that's
Fire.
that's one thing. Sorry to be cut you. That's one thing about the family, the tribe. I guess we could call it the alumni. We're pretty good at policing each other when people need it, or picking each other up when we need it as well, or helping each other out, and getting good advice. Forging Fire for me. What it did is give me the fortitude, I guess you could say, to go ahead and step my neck out there, set my company up, go kind of legit instead of just hobbying it and such like that, and spend more time to it. Um, but yeah, but anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's right. But it helps, but it's not going to be your be all. It's not going to. The notoriety is not going to keep you alive forever.
No,
Your work's got to speak for itself. I'd love to do more intricate and better stuff, but my time has been at a premium here of late. Went through a fire in 24, and then moved into temporary lodging. Finally, was able to buy home of my own this past June, into June. So had to move into the had to move into the home, and then took up gardening because I've always wanted a garden. And this
Nice.
is my first mortgage. I've leased all the rest of my 65 years of either been leeching off my parents. Did that until I was 18 or 19. And, but after that, every place I lived, I rented. And so I've got a nice backyard. The section I've got the garden in has no shade. And the backyard is oriented on an almost perfect east to west.
Nice.
So I've got full. I mean, it's the perfect setup for this. And so I've never been able to go full bore on a garden like I have here. I've had some little containers, but nothing like what I've put in here. And
Man,
I've got I
I
got
think we're
7 raised
missing.
beds,
Yeah, right.
about 10 or 15 grow bags. Got 3 blackberry bushes, 3 Arctic frost satsuma orange trees, a Meyer lemon, 2 dwarf mulberry trees, and 3 blueberry bushes,
Nice.
among all kinds of herbs and um, vegetables. My eldest son and his significant other were over visiting yesterday for Christmas evening, and I gave her pulled a turnip out of my garden. Turnip was bigger around than a softball.
Nice.
But this thing was huge. It's Tokyo was the variety. Big white turnip. And my granddaughters will come over. I got 2 granddaughters that love the cherry tomatoes fresh out of the garden. And here lately, I've also introduced them to popping fresh pea pods off of the vine, splitting it, eating the peas straight out of the pea pod, right out of the garden. They munch on them raw. They love them.
Yeah, eating fresh peas. What, real quick, it got me thinking there about gardening and everything. Right now, we're supposed to be in winter. We're having a unusually warm winter. We've been up hitting 50s and 60s. We had a 70-degree day. We should have
It was 85 here today.
what's that?
It was 85 here today.
So what is gardening like in Texas where you're at? I mean, can you garden all year round, or you have something for seasonal?
Well, mind you, this is my very first. I was late to the party. I didn't get my stuff in the ground until mid to late July, and I had to put up shade cloth, 40% shade cloth, just to keep my stuff from getting burnt up.
Mm.
And it was almost like every day, every other day watering, trying to keep up with because we went through, I think it was better than 60, it was better than 60 days of 90 plus temperature and zero precipitation.
Little dry spell.
Yeah. Um, so everything was kind of like, so I'm working on getting a jump, but yeah, there's certain plants that'll grow year round. This is the time of year where the peas are supposed to do all right. I just harvested broccoli out of the garden for Christmas dinner yesterday. Fixed that for
Yeah,
my
that's
wife
good.
and
I love
2 of
broccoli.
the grands. Huh?
I love broccoli. When I first moved in here and moved back into this place, established the garden where it was. Hell, I grew broccoli plants that were almost 4 foot tall, and I had so much damn broccoli I was giving them. I finally quit picking it and bagging it and bottling it. It's like, come get it. For the love of God, come get it. And ever since then, I have
Yeah.
not been able to replicate that. I don't know why.
Um, well, it comes down to soil. You've got to have the right soil amendments.
True.
I got a decent boost because I'm using brand new soil. Because I'm doing them raised beds. So I'm buying bagged soil and bagged um, manure compost. So I'm buying all the primo stuff to get it started. But once you get it started, you've got to keep it going and you've got to keep it fed. And I'm still learning about all that.
It's a fun process. I grew
But
up
I'm
around
with
gardening, so it,
I I think it was President George Bush that said it was either him or Reagan that said he didn't eat broccoli. It's like, what's the difference between broccoli and boogers? You ain't going to get a 3-year-old to eat broccoli.
true. I hated broccoli until I was about 25. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, this stuff is delicious.
Yeah, I do with the cheese sauce and all that good stuff. But no, the granddaughters are really, really enjoying it, enjoying coming over and picking out the garden. I planted saffron corns. Um, and for those that don't know, saffron is by weight, is the most expensive spice in the world. Just found out today the number 2 most expensive is vanilla beans.
Yes.
But no, saffron grows well. I'm in zone 9, USDA zone 9. Um, so just about everything at the lawns never really die out. I've had times where I had to mow grass in January, February. We have not had our first. It's a little strange this year. Usually by now we would have had our first frost. Uh,
Yeah, we definitely
usually
got a
it's
it's it's unusually warm this
yeah.
winter.
And the sun goes. I'm not big on the whole man-made thing, but history shows that the sun goes through its warming periods. At one time, the Earth was a sauna, and then it went through ice ages, and then it warmed back up, and then it had ice age. So it's
Well, I have to say with the I don't remember a lot of Aurora Borealis growing up. We had a pretty good ejection that covered us pretty good back in early 2000s. It seems like now we've had in our area, and especially in the last year, multiple Aurora Borealis is down this far. I heard it reached you guys a little bit, even down to Florida. So with that, that's probably the sun warming up a little bit, pushing more out, more energy.
sun activity. It doesn't fit the narrative, and the narrative all comes down to money.
Yes, it's just money. That's all it is. It's money and control.
Michael Crichton, I think was his last novel, wrote one. It was called State of Fear. And if you ever get a chance, State of Fear, Michael Crichton.
I've heard of
Uh,
that.
he's it was outstanding. It was an outstanding novel, and the back half of the novel, because it dealt with global warming, the novel itself, but the about half the novel, uh, he he basically and Crichton was a doctor, and it he explained his feelings on as far as the man-made and climate, and then it was a total. Then he listed all his sources, all his footnotes, all his sources, everywhere he got information and supported his thing. And Crichton's outlook was that we are making heat islands. When I say heat island, you look at a city of San Antonio. A few years ago, Austin, which is an hour and a half north of us and about 800 to 1,000 degrees elevation, um, had a snowstorm Christmas Day. And that traveled straight south toward us, bent right around San Antonio, and 2.5 hours south of us, it snowed in Corpus Christi, Texas, right on the Gulf, Gulf of Mexico, America. Right on the Gulf. And
Gulf
the
America.
reason behind, huh?
Gulf America. No, I'm just kidding. I
Yep.
always could just refer to it as the Gulf. I mean,
Yeah, you go with the Gulf. But it the cold front bent right around San Antonio because the residual heat stored by the buildings, the concrete, the sidewalks, the roads, all of our infrastructure, that stores a lot of heat.
mm,
Think
yes,
about
it
how long
does.
it takes an asphalt road to cool off after sunset.
True. Very true.
So
Or even during
those are
a
heat.
rainstorm or a snowstorm, it takes a while for them roads to
Yeah,
ice up.
exactly. So these are heat banks. They're storing heat. So and it creates its own high pressure system with all that heat, and the low pressure will bend around it. And that's what happened with that snowstorm. Snowed in Austin north of us, snowed in Corpus Christi south of us. So does man have an effect on the environment? Yes. Is it global? Uh, I'm not. I can't go there, but I
We might
can
have
say that yes.
a little pin drop of it, but nature is God, God is nature, and this Earth's been around probably a little bit longer than when we've been here. But so yeah, I mean, to assume that we have that big of effect, I mean, do we have an effect on trash piling up and poisoning the environment locally? Yes. On a global
Oh,
scale,
absolutely,
um,
absolutely. And who's responsible for the floating garbage patch in the Pacific? It's human beings. There's no doubt about that. Do we have an effect on our environment? But and we had what was it in the 1850s? There was a famine in Europe, and I think that was caused by Krakatoa.
yes, that was the Krakatoa when it found the potato famine.
Yep.
It
all
ma-
the all the all the volcanic dust in the air darkened the skies, and they didn't get the sunlight needed to grow the vegetables.
well, that it froze the ground. It kind of had a mini ice age. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and they didn't know what it
So,
was really because it was on clear across around the world, and so that's why I keep hoping. God, I wish we get a few more volcanoes to erupt because it seems like we get better snow. Um, just a th just a little bit of theory because we in 1983, the winter of '83, coming out of after St. Helens, they had record amount of snow uh,
uh,
here, and then all of a sudden the next following spring, it was, and the 1st of March, it went from ice cold freezing, snowing and blowing to 85-degree weather, and it flooded everywhere. They had big floods everywhere over the
yeah.
state of Utah, and well, let's bring this one into back into the knives a little bit here. What kind of style of knife making do you prefer? I know you like to do a little bit of forging. You make your own steel.
Yep. My bread and butter is my Cape Master. That's an ergonomically designed. It's a design that I've evolved over the last several years to where it just fits in the hand, and it works great as an everyday carry. But where I designed it for was skinning and field dressing. Um, those I do is it's a water jet blank that it's my design. I do all the hardening. I do all the um, grinding, finishing. There's nothing factory about it aside from having the shape cut out of the steel. But it's my design, my shape, and I do everything else.
They are
Uh,
beautiful knives, by the way.
yeah, thank you. It's and I think people come by the table and I say, that's probably going to be about the most comfortable knife you'll hold in your hand all day.
That's what she
I've
said.
had,
But
I
sorry.
had, yeah, I know. It's nice try. At any rate,
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah. Any rate, I've had one guy tell me, "No, I like the one I got better." And his he liked it with the big fat handle. I don't have skinny handles. I don't have fat handles. The somehow I hit that.
Happy medium.
I hit that happy medium, and it's thinner toward the index finger and thicker toward the butt. So between the mild finger well and the flare going to the rear of the knife, um, it's easy to hold on to.
Yeah, and
Uh,
one question here. Now, I've been getting, a lot of times I'll make a really narrow neck, wide butt, and lately it seems like, and it's kind of 50-50. Been getting a lot of requests that when it comes up to the finger well for the index, to leave that a lot wider there, and leave the handles just a little bit more fatter, it seems like. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but it just kind of goes in phases. You know, I've been doing a little more skinnier neck for a lot of years. Everybody's like that, and I don't know if it's just because people are bored to seeing what I'm doing, but more people seem to what I call the fat handle, wide one, very narrow, shallow. I should say shallow finger well, a little thicker on the sides, fat butt to it. Seems like people are kind of more into that lately, and there's some that still like the little, my traditional style I have been making. So I've been kind of deciding, I'm gonna mix things up. It's kind of driving me nuts a little bit when I'm looking at this big, wide, fat handle. I was like, that's not my normal style because I'm so used to doing it. So get myself out of that comfort zone. Have you seen anything like that? Like we're talking here, where you seem to hit that happy medium. Have you seen anything of any input feedback from other customers and
not really. I just haven't. I haven't done that many shows this year.
same?
I've done 3 shows. I did 3 shows this year. I'm sorry, 4. Did Oklahoma City, and then Blade Show, Texas.
Belleville.
What will be that the Belleville show that I did is the very last Belleville show that there will be.
That's what you were saying. I'll have to reach out to talk to
Yeah.
them. Kind of hope somebody else will take up the torch because I sure love going down there.
Oh yeah, it was fun. It was and Cowboy, I loved it because for him it was a big party. Elena was the absolute driving force.
Oh yeah.
Uh, she was the spark plug with the planning and the logistics and all. She worked her butt off on it. But right now they have. I talked to both Cowboy and Elena at the show in Conroe back in November, and they both said that they're so busy with everything they've got going on with the new shop that they 2026 was definitely out the window because the show ended up on the same weekend as Easter, and they tried doing that once before by sliding it forward, doing a Friday Saturday, um,
Didn't work out.
and it just wasn't so. But it ended up being that was they said it's the last one. They're not going to do another one. It won't be. 26 was definitely out because of Easter, and they said no, we're not planning on 27 either. Which
Which I understand and everything. It just kind of sucked because and it's just another one of our, I guess you could say, our little family reunions. But Sean and everybody in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Knife Group, I think are picking that mantle up, even though it's gonna be.
that's a growing show.
Yep, been
Um,
to it once,
and
and I wish I could go this year. So
yeah, Texas Custom Knife Show down in Conroe. Um, they're shifting to October, which will put it before hunting season. They're hoping that gives it a bit of a boost, and with no Belleville, maybe maybe Cameron's going to be the place to be in October. I was signed up to do Fort Worth last September, but with the move, I just didn't have move, putting up the garden and everything else I was going through last year. I just didn't have the time to build stock. Um, I, and I really didn't have stock for Conroe in November, but I was running the Texas Knife Makers Guild table. So I had 5 knives. And, one of the things that we talked about is board members with the Texas Knife Makers Guild was, being focused that when you're running the guild table, which you're not paying anything for the table,
Mm-hmm.
you have what we looked at, we discussed it, threw ideas out, but 3 knives on the table. You can put out three of your own knives out there for sale, but your focus is there for guild business.
Yep. We just had one of the Texas Knife Maker Guild members on just the other night here. James Pocket was on
Uh-huh.
here. So,
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I believe James was newly elected to the Texas board.
yes, yes,
He'll be
sir.
serving starting in January.
Yes, sir. That was a great conversation.
Another lovely unpaid position.
Yeah, but he said he's looking forward to it, and he's seemed pretty excited. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's good to have the new blood in. It really is.
so
Helps
oh, go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought, and we'll.
helps with us old folks. Which one of the big things that the Texas Snipers Guild did for me is that it opened up a network, just like the Force and Fire does. But the focus of the guild is more about promoting um, fit and finish, finish, and quality, and the to get they have different levels of maker within the Texas Knife Makers Guild. There's the Lone Star level, which has a minimum quality standard, and you have to get 3 knives judged. And then they have a Texas Ranger level that's a little more stringent and requires different types of builds, such as metal bolsters or hidden tangs, folder. There's several different things, type knives that you can take and submit. Uh, but they've been instrumental in helping promote um, me and the quality I'm making right now. I'm never totally satisfied with the quality of what I'm making. I always want to be better. But I wouldn't have the fit and finish I have now were it not for folks like, well, I gave James Hughes an example. I'd hand a knife I just made to James, and I said, okay, what do I need to improve on? And he'd tell me, you need to work on this, this, and this. If I needed to know how to do this or that, all I had to do was ask him. But more often than not, it was, you need to flatten your scales before you put them on, or you're hesitating when you're using the small wheel and you got these little dimples running down the spine of the knife. Um, your hand tanning is inconsistent at best. And it wasn't. You got to put your big girl panties on, and
Mhm.
he wasn't there and the whole idea is not there to tear you up or
Well,
to put down your.
it's constructive criticism and help to build you up.
Absolutely. If you got no clue where you need to improve, um, how are you going to improve?
Exactly.
And if your skin's so dang thin that somebody can't say, well, you're you got 60 grit scratches on top of 220 grit hand sand, and then you put it on a buffer to mirror polish it, and you've got all this other stuff laying underneath, and you never got to the mirror polish. When you look at it, it's or you got gapping, you got your handle scales. There's gaps that you can stick a fingernail in. Water's going to get behind there and rust, and you're so. But yeah, when you ask another knife maker for for input, get your big girl panties on. At the mild finger well that I have on my Cape Masters, I swap knives with John Stokes, and we both critiqued each other's knives. And one of the things that he pointed out was that he was having to grip my knife too hard to keep it in his hand. So I added that mild finger well and did the flare, and now it's got the hand retention. And if I wasn't willing to listen to a criticism of what I make, I would have never learned that. I would never adapted it, and I wouldn't have the piece that I have now.
There you go. And that's kind of like where back where I was talking about the different thickness, width, and everything else. So flexing a little
Yeah,
bit. And that's great input for not only from other makers, but your customer base as well, which is
yeah,
equally as important because if you're not making something people want, you're wasting your time. You're going to collect a whole lot of knives.
yeah. And my Cape Master shape is not a conventional, and it's I'm not selling them like gangbusters, but I sell enough of them that it shows. Um, when the higher priced Damascus and fancier builds don't sell, these still do. And over time, I've probably got about 75 to 100 of them out in the wild over the last 7 years.
Nice.
And because it's an unconventional style knife, unconventional style sheath, um, you got to hold it, you got to use it to appreciate what I put in there.
Yes, sir.
And I just gotta, you gotta believe in yourself at the end of the day. And you gotta believe in your product and never be different just to be different. There's gotta be a reason. And for me, it was ergonomics. Don't you love them 50-cent words?
Right. For me on that expat, I've been doing this since I was 10. I'm 40 now. I'm 30 years into it. I would
Uh-huh.
say within the last 8 to 10 years, I've really started honing in a lot better since I've had my own shop, got my own equipment now. Before that, I, go work around dad and when he, previous or when I was off work, I'd sneak out the farm work and such, much as I could. But now where I've got my own shop and everything, I used to make 650 layer or give or take, um, using O1 tool steel and A36 mild steel. And if anybody out there listening, that's kind of like similar to the old Bill Moran style of making Damascus. So that's who my dad learned from making Damascus from back when I was about a month old.
Yeah.
And I got tired of doing that. I never, thinking back, yeah, I had fun with it, but I don't think I really enjoyed it like my dad did. I mean, I fun, I could do it and everything else. So I started here when I got my own shop. A cousin of mine was on the oil rigs and everything else, brought me some cable to play with. And I found that for what little equipment I had, mom and dad gifted me a little giant 25-pound little trip hammer for my
Oh,
birthday.
sweet.
Right. And they found it laying in somebody's backyard in the dirt and got it for 200 bucks. Score on that.
Oh boy.
Right. And I got that for my birthday. A friend of mine had a old Buffalo Forge that he gathered up out of somebody's scrap pile that was going to haul this antique Buffalo Forge cast forge off for scrap. He bought it for 20 bucks. I traded him a knife for it. So I had to do a little modification to it. And I turned that into a coke burning forge. And I got this cable and I started playing with it. Actually, I started playing with that just a little bit before I had that all set up at my dad's shop.
Uh-huh.
And I really liked it. And I don't know if you've done cable, but to make really good cable, um, it's pretty. I mean, make sure it also solid and no inclusions. it's kind of pretty tough, and I feel I really enjoy it because it's I don't know if it's a little bit easier, I guess, because you don't have to stack everything that's already wound. You got to clean it up real good. Um, Sometimes I've soaked it in oat oil and or diesel or mixture, and then using the coat forge, which you got to watch your heat really close because you get it, you can get it hot like
Oh
that,
yeah,
and it just
I've played a little bit on them, and when it starts looking like one of the Fourth of July sparklers,
yep.
you done let it stay in there just a little too long, son.
It left, but you want to catch it just as it's starting to spark, or sometimes a little bit less. I got a new. I switched over to propane.
Uh
Got me a like before that. I got me a
huh. Excuse me.
little two burner devil's forge out here
Uh
that I use now. I've used the hell out of it for classes, but I use that mainly just to forge out knife blanks now or different pieces for that. Last April, I picked up a Texas Forge ribbon burner and
huh.
learning that. And it never really occurred to
Love
me.
my ribbon burner.
Yes, I'm enjoying it. I'm still learning a little bit of it. I think I need a bigger tank to draw on.
Yeah. Uh, now, 40-pound tank would be, 30, 40-pound tank. You should be okay. I do prefer the 100-pound tanks.
That's where I'm running off of, but it just seems like I need a little bit more now. I'm going to get another one on that. I think.
Shoot. Now I was getting three times the life out of the propane with the ribbon burner.
Mhm. That
Uh,
seems like I'm burning less fuel.
yeah. Before the ribbon burner, and I have one of the way back uh, Texas Forges ribbon burners. I bought that like 7 years ago. Um, but before that, I had a three burner Majestic, like what they used on the show, and I had melted the insulation because it uses. They used. He has some kind of a ceramic insulation board, similar to what a lot of kilns use, and that that flux,
Eats it right up.
boric flux, it just eats it up. And I tried getting, I tried ordering, and I could not get replacement. Let's just say my opinion of customer service at Majestic Forges is pretty pathetic. Um, and anybody that's ever asked me what kind of forge should I start with, I'll say anything but a Majestic. I was not. I was, the initial service, ordering, and shipping and delivery and the quality of what I got. All that was spot on. But none of that is worth the crap if you don't have service after the sale.
Mm.
And trying to get that service after the sale. And I wasn't looking to get it for nothing. I knew that a new liner kit, I was going to be paying for it. I'm the one that messed it up. I considered it a consumable item.
Hmm.
But when you can't get it and you can't get an email answered, it's time to move on. The only thing I kept from the Majestic were the three burners and the regulator, and I'm still using the same regulator that I bought back when I got my first Majestic, when I got my only Majestic. But it was a fun day when I tossed that in the trash. Felt good.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so far this Devil Forge, I've rebuilt it a little bit. I used some fire brick, cut the fire brick down, put in there, and then poured some refractory cement around it. I'm actually going to cut it. I'm only using one burner on it, and I'm actually going to cut the back end a little bit off, and I'm going to take that other burner. I'm going to build me a forge with a side door on it for some different projects for a little bit of blacksmithing, so I don't have to use the big ribbon burner for all the time for that. I'm using mainly the ribbon burner to build Damascus with.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and
But
I
my
don't know if it's just
ribbon's the only
me.
burn. Ribbon's the only forge I've got.
Nice.
And I've since I sold the Texas forge that I bought because after the fire, I'd had a forge already cut out propane tank forge. I've been looking for something deeper, and the guy said, "Look, I've got this around, but it's going to have to be rebuilt." No problem. I rebuilt my Texas forge after that, and I used the burners from the Majestic to build my own forge. It's not that complex if you got the burners. And Jimmy Floyd had given me a long ribbon burner. Jason Floyd was the one that gave me the his old so long forge, but I tore it apart, put all new 2 inches of KO wool, and then Satanite, and then Plistics. Plistics works like the ITC 100. It's reflective and help focus that heat back in. Does well. I just haven't used it much because um, I've been busy playing catch up, and the fire was just July 23rd of
Nice.
2024.
Yeah, that wasn't too long ago. Doesn't seem that long, but it had.
It's only been like 18 months, and a lot has happened in 18 months. But no, I was yeah, I have a deal with my kids, with my grandkids. So I told you,
Yeah.
grandkids are 10 times better than kids. I got 10 grandkids altogether, but they're invited over to come and make a Cape Master with me um, when they turn 10.
There we go.
Anytime after their 10th birthday, they get, I supply the instruction, I supply the materials. I'll even supply some labor. With my granddaughter today, I did most of the flat grind for her. And then once I got the grind done, then I polished it up to around 400, and then set it in front of her, and got a little hand sanding station, and she's on her first side. She's done 220 hand sand, and now she's going through the 320. With the K Master, take them up to 400. Then I'll acid etch them in ferric for 30 minutes, stone wash, and then glue it up. Call it a day.
What do you do for your stone wash? How do you do yours?
Um, I've got a big 6-inch tube that I put them in. I've got a little uh, trolley type thing. Fellow moving from San Antonio to Las Vegas, who was a knife maker, had made this. Before that, I was using a drill, but I had made this, and um, and inside I've got a mixture of regular little river stones, and then I also bought the tumble media from Harbor Freight. It's a ceramic, and it comes in like a triangle shape. And I put those on the anvil one at a time, popped them, and broke them into 3, 4 pieces, and I've got that in the tube.
Nice.
And I tumble them for 15 minutes, just enough to kind of rough it up a little bit, because the whole goal with the acid etch and the stone wash is to get past that break-in stage, where I've got this beautiful knife. My first knives that I sold, beautiful satin, hand rubbed finish on an 80 CRV2 knife. And a few months later, those knives are, depending on what they cut, if they cut lemons, all of a sudden the blade got dark, or it got some surface rust on it, and thought it was going to stay shiny. And that's never going to happen with high carbon.
No. And you could say it's kind of a factory patina on there. which it seems to me tends to keep it from rusting, tends
Oh
to
yeah.
help it
Well,
keep it from rusting as soon if you don't
uh,
take
this one here, it's one of my Cape Masters, and
it in front of you.
I've carried this one for 3 years.
It's kind of blurred out. Bring it over in front of you. There you go.
You know, but I carry this every day. It, it'll I'll cut rat bait blocks in half. I'll dig in the dirt, um, pry out wood, looking for termites. Um, Slice up my calzone at lunch. Um, got stuff. I use it for everything, and I don't take care of it and oil it and wax it simply because my goal is to abuse it. And with that acid etched and stonewash finish, I've abused the hell out of it. I've cut citrus. There's some really nasty sour oranges and high acid. Dropped it back in my sheath. I didn't go wash it off. I treat it like you shouldn't treat a custom knife because I want to know.
There you go. Little R&D, little R&D.
Yeah, it's R and D. And if you're not proud enough of what you make to use what you make, if you're making your own everyday carry, if you're making everyday carries and you're carrying around a cold steel or a buck, and that's your everyday carry, um, dude, something ain't right. You got to believe in your own product. You are the number one salesman for your product.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm getting called out on the carpet here. Everyone's like, I don't, you don't carry a knife. Well, when I usually do, when I do carry a knife, it usually sells a lot faster than anything else, or I get talked out of it because I like to make them sell them. I love paying my bills that way,
Yeah,
doing my own stuff. But there is wisdom for what you're saying, and I need to. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too picky on what I want to carry for myself, or I think
I,
I'm getting into
I
friction folders, and I think I'm going to make me one. I got a new design. A buddy of mine help come up with help me come up with. He did. This guy could told him what I was thinking, and within 15 minutes, he sent me a picture. What do you think of this? Like, damn.
so well, and for me, it's fixed blades. I've never carried a folder that I couldn't lose. Whereas this fixed blade, I've carried it on my daily. I've crawled under houses, climbed into attics, been on roofs, hunted, fished, camped, all that, and it's still with me 3 years later, which the folder for me would never be. Yeah, and the usable blade length is 3.5 inches, which 3.5 inches you can pretty much play anything short of a blue whale.
Yes, sir. Um, well, let's get kind of break this down a little bit. So, you've been working for yourself for the last
36 years.
36 years now, and working for yourself. What's I'm just scratching the surface of that myself. Had to go back to work for a couple. Went to got a job a year ago. Went back to full time in August. Learned my lesson about working for somebody else again. Mainly due to because the economics. My classes pretty much dried up. Um, Knife sales weren't, so I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Wasn't happy about it and everything else, but
work
um,
supports your habits.
yep,
Sleeping, eating food, and sleeping indoors.
yep.
Work.
I then got the daughter, and
Yep.
she's living here full time, and that's something new to learn. So with doing that, being a business and picking up knife making, and you took it to like duck on water. Now you're able to share this with your grandkids. You say what's better than
Yep.
having kids raising grandkids. How's that feel to take this skill that from watching a TV show and I like that, got bit by the bug, and now you're pretty much passing that on. And I
Oh,
would say that would be more.
what I live and thrive on is challenge. And one of the neat things about the knife making is that I look at some very, very talented knife makers and admire their work. And I want to do. J.W. Randall's one of them.
Yes.
And you won't meet a nicer fellow, nicer guy, nicer, more humble, run of the mill guy. But I mean, he puts out some gorgeous work.
Next name that comes to mind is old Jeff Wagner.
Wagner's doing. Wagner's a weird individual. I love him dearly. He just he's got an interesting personality.
Well, I think he's a veteran, ain't he?
I don't know. I know he's a lineman.
Okay.
Um,
I think he's
he's been up one too many poles, I think.
yeah, that's good guy.
But yeah, he does some beautiful. I mean, but I mean, we could talk. We could throw out names, but all day. I mean, there's the talent out there is just amazing, and that's the level I want to achieve. Um, I may never achieve it simply because of time and dedication. I've still got it. Pest control pays my bills. Pest control keeps the roof over my head. Um, but it's nice for me to have the challenge of trying to one day be as accomplished as these folks that I admire. That's what drives me, and that's what keeps me in bladesmithing. Otherwise it's just another job.
and that's
You
why
know,
I think.
my cape master has become a job, but it's a means to an end to continue to pay for other stuff. Um, you know, pays for the shows, and it's a style I believe in. But it allows me to do some of the Damascus and venture into the art knives and trying to um, reach that next level. But it's a challenge. It's not a. I didn't take it as a duck to water. I had to paddle my ass off every inch of the way. But I thrive on the challenge.
And so, like we were talking earlier, you were working with your granddaughter this evening. How's that make you feel personally? I mean,
Oh, I enjoy sharing it. I enjoy sharing it. And, I was, when I got done with the grind on it, I said we can go with the machine finish on it if you want, or there's hand sanding. You're gonna have to hand sand it to 400. That's 220, 320, and 400. Those are your grits. I said it's up to you. She said, "Well, I really don't want to hand sand, but really don't want the machine finish." All right, I'm going to hand sand. And she was out here for about an hour and a half hand sanding. I'd switch off with her every once in a while and do some for her, but it's her knife, and I got to fight trying to do too much and let it be her project with me instead of my project that she happened to watch me do for her.
yeah, I get that.
Uh,
Another thing about it is you definitely forged memories for her that she's going to last her the rest of her
oh,
life.
absolutely. I mean, she'll be able to when she picks that knife up, and we know the knives we make are the quality will last you a lifetime if you take care of it.
Yes.
It'll last several lifetimes if you take care of it because there's high carbon steel knives from our great great grandparents still out there kicking around.
Yes, sir.
High carbon steel knives from the 1800s. Um, but yeah, it's a memory. And that's also another reason why I want to do the Forest and Fire show. Um, I cannot go back and watch any videos, any movies, anything that has my dad or his granddad or my great granddad in it, so that I've lost um, their voice. I can't hear them. I know who they were, and I have some memories, but I've lost their voice. It's been too many years. And with with the show, having done the show, my great grandkids can say, "Oh yeah, my great grandpa was made knives, and he was on this show, and let's watch it." Boy, he was a goofy sucker. Look at the belly on that dude. Didn't he have exercise back then? Yeah,
That's funny.
but whatever, it gives there's a certain level of immortality that comes with it.
Never
I
thought
mean,
of it that way.
huh?
Never thought about that way, and for the show wise, I mean, I like that.
Well, I mean, um, Sons of Katie Elder, Sons of Katie Elder, Sons of Katie Elder comes on TV, and for the time that movie's on, Earl Holliman, John Wayne, Dean Martin, they're all alive. For that period of time of that movie showing to you, it's like they've all come back to life.
Mm, very
So they'll be able to get a feel for my sense of humor. Will they get to know the whole me? No.
gives
But
them a little glimpse of grandpa or great grandpa.
yeah, a great grandpa, whatever generation sees it. I know my granddaughters have to watch it from time to time. I bought seasons because I was a fan of the show before I was on the show, and I bought seasons, and my season is one of the seasons I bought. And my granddaughters are asked to watch it every once in a while. I want to see, I want to see your Forced and Fire show, Pop Pop. Okay, I'll put it on for you. So yeah, there's some immortality there, Mike.
Never thought of that. That's a good idea. Um,
Well, that's the closest to immortality we're going to get here on Earth. We got a heavenly Father afterwards, but as far as on Earth, that our greats can see, this is as close as you're going to get.
good point. Well, is there anything else you want to share? Any thoughts that you may have had a thought you want to dive in real quick? And
Well, Duck walked into a store,
oh boy,
goes up to the manager, and says, "Hey, Mister, you got any grapes?" Manager says, "No, no, we don't sell grapes here. So Duck leaves. Comes in the next day, goes up to the manager, and says, "Hey, you got any grapes?" Manager says, "No, no, no, we do not sell grapes here." So Duck leaves. Comes back in the next day, goes up to the same manager again. He says, "Hey, Mister, you got any grapes?" Manager says, "Look, I told you yesterday, I told you the day before, I'm going to tell you today. We don't sell grapes here. We never have sold grapes here. And if you ever come in here one more time asking for grapes, I'm going to nail your flat little feet to the floor." So poor Duck leaves. Comes in the next day, goes up to that manager, says, "Hey, you got any nails?" Manager says, "No." He says, "Good. You got any grapes?"
oh, think I hear that every time we run into each other. That's still a classic joke. I love that.
Oh, it's
Um, before,
storytelling. What do you call a dog with no legs?
oh boy,
Call him anything you want. He ain't going to come.
yeah, yeah.
You know
Well,
where
I
you
guess
find
he
a
could
dog with no legs?
roll. I guess he could roll to you.
You know where you find a dog with no legs? Right where you left him.
Oh Lord. Oh heavens.
And do you know what you call a deer with no eyes? No idea.
No idea. Huh? Oh boy. Oh, cracking about dad. Wow, I guess that'd be papa jokes, not dad joke.
Yeah,
Papa
pop
jokes.
pop jokes. Yeah, I gotta love them. I mean, I do. My granddaughter up in Ohio, one of my granddaughters up in Ohio, she hit me with one a couple months ago. It was seasonally appropriate. Says, "Pop pop, what do you call a jack o' lantern with no face?" I said, "I don't know. What do you call it?" "A pumpkin."
Oh, that's a good one. That
Yeah,
is good. Oh
yeah.
man.
I love it when the kids know me well enough to know what trips my trigger, um, and will share the corny humor with me that I like to share with everybody else. It's good, clean fun. And back when back when I was a teen and a young adult, I was the most painfully shy person you'd ever want to meet. Going to Texas A&M University, yeah, because I came out of a small high school. There were 78 seniors in my graduating class in Augsburg, Germany, and which, by the way, is the same place that Sean Shropshire graduated. Two Augsburg American High School alumni. What are the odds? But at any rate, I was so painfully shy. I mean, at Texas A&M, the strangers are constantly saying howdy to you. And man, it was freaking me out. So I'd see somebody coming on the same side of my street, and I'd cross over the other side of the street. Not because I was standoffish, but because I was so damn shy, I just couldn't deal with somebody saying howdy to me that I didn't know. But telling jokes, telling the humor, that's what it helped me break the ice, and it helped me open up and begin to learn to talk to people. And my pest control customers still expect the joke of the quarter.
Well, that's good.
Every time I'm out for your regular service, a joke is expected. And I've been doing that for 30 some odd years. And but that's the origin behind why I tell so many jokes.
Nice. I love it. Well, I want to take this time. We're kind of diving into it. I call this a share the words of wisdom. What for people in knife making or self-employed or family, um, your experience of traveling around, as a kid growing up as an army brat. Um, Share some words of wisdom for those who are out here listening that might be struggling or just trying to find their little niche in life, or share us just some good. You know what I mean?
There's one person in this world that it's absolutely critical believes in you, and that's you. That's yourself. You got to believe in yourself first. You got to have faith in you, and understand that everything that the world owes you is going to fit into an upside down coffee cup. The world owes you nothing. You go out and you make it, but you got to believe in yourself. You can't expect other people to believe in you if you won't believe in yourself. That's number one. Number two, if you're self-employed, get used to the fact that one week you're going to eat chicken and the next week you're going to eat feathers.
This is true.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's
Something I had to learn about a year ago. It was kind of hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, I needed it. If you could say, not only on a personal, but definitely on a spiritual side of things.
It hasn't been that tight in years, but I remember there was at least twice in my life that I had to take my my hunting rifle down to the pawn shop to pawn it for the money to keep the electric bill on in January or February. Now, I always got my hunting rifle back. Of course, it cost me the extra money, but because when the pawn shop doesn't loan you money for free. They keep your stuff as collateral, but you're also going to give them more money back than what they gave you in the first place. It's interesting. But, have faith that that the Lord has a plan for you. Follow the whisper where he's trying to guide you and quit fighting. I never, the house I'm in, I was going through a realtor looking for a home. And the house I ended up buying was a guy I used to bowl with, had me out of his new house out in just north of town for pest control. He was having an ant problem. And I was telling Brent about the house hunting and how sucky it was going. He said, by the way, I've got this house on Linda Colonia. Our old house, you've been there once before. I've been fixing it up for the last 4 months after we moved here, getting it ready for market. It's up for sale.
Nice.
And I was in a situation where this was Memorial Day, and I hadn't noticed to vacate the property that I was living prior. In between, I hadn't noticed to vacate 30th of June. We went from looking at the house on Memorial Day to closed by the 27th of June.
Nice. Definitely a blessing there.
Yeah. Well, I promised Brent, the guy I bought the house from, I said, one thing I promise you, Brent, it's going to be a fast closing, which 3 weeks is a fast closing.
Yes, it is.
And that was with me going for a conventional loan. I'd never been through, what do they call that? I just had it on the tip of my head. It's the loan's approved, but underwriting.
Yeah,
I'd never been
underwriting.
through. Oh God, the underwriting had 3, 4, 5 insane questions a day. My emotions are already on the high, and I'm going nuts because I've got this suspense date of I've got to be out of this house by this date, and I don't want to be homeless, and I need a place to put my stuff. And they're coming up with these 3, 4, 5 stupid questions a day. And gotta love my mortgage brokers that help with all this. And they'd fire off the questions, and I'd pull over the side of the road, and they'd have their answers because if I want to get closed in 3 weeks, the mortgage brokers to get the mortgage set up need my input to answer the stupid questions from underwriting. But no, you never know where life is going to lead you. You never know what blessings are going to be there, and my whole life hasn't been rosy. I've had my ups and downs. I've had plenty of downs. I've had my butt knocked in the dirt more times than I care to remember. But I focus on the positive. I focus on tomorrow, and I don't get. I don't much care for the poor me routine. That's not going to help you. That's not going to move you forward. And I really don't have time I don't really have time in my life for anything that isn't positive or move me forward.
I like it. I like that. That's some
Yeah.
good.
It was an old fable of guy was coming from town A to town B. And he runs into this traveler on the road coming from town B. He's going toward A. And so he asked the guy from town B, so what kind of people are there in town B? What kind of people are there? He said, they're all miserable, cheats, thieves, scum, the nastiest folks you ever want to meet in your life. He said, what kind of people do they have in town A? The guy from town A says, well, if that's all you found in B, that's all you're going to find in A too.
If that's what you're looking for, that's what you're going to find.
Yep. And so if you're living in poor me, if you're living in everything's horrible, you're not going to get out of it. You're going to wallow in it. You're going to be stuck there, and when I'm trying, then where I'm trying to figure out where my next meal's coming from, or how I'm going to get to my next job. I've been through 2 divorces. Lost both. I've buried both my parents. I've had loss, and I've been knocked on my butt. My dad died in 1981. That's a long daggum time ago. And but my takeaway from that was each and every day is a blessing. Tomorrow's not promised.
Amen.
Do your best to make tomorrow a better one and enjoy the day you got. And I'll leave you with this. There's no such thing as a bad day. Some are just a whole lot tougher.
I like that. I really do. Well, that's one thing I've started to do, and I was just to open up with a prayer, and I spaced it. I got to get me a little noteboard. I'm gonna put me a noteboard above the computer here, so I can go first, middle, end, kind of keep me on track a little bit because I need that just a little bit. Keep those squirrels. I think we did pretty good about not going too squirrel tonight, and I love it.
Well, dear Lord, we want to thank you for today, and we want to thank you for the promise of tomorrow. And may we be worthy of that tomorrow. Amen.
Amen. Well, thanks, John. Um, can't wait to get back down to Texas. Definitely come down and visit y'all. Maybe one of these ain't moving do some vacationing, or maybe bump into you in Oklahoma, or maybe this fall and the upcoming year in the Fort Worth shows.
We'll cross paths again.
And if you ever get out on vacation, you come out here, you better stop on by.
Yeah. Well, growing up all over the world, it's made me want one thing. I don't want to travel.
There you Oh, good point. Fair
Yeah,
enough. Fair enough. Well,
but here's Sean Shropshire. You know Sean.
yes.
He's also an Army brat. I told you he graduated from the same
I didn't know
overseas
that.
high school that I did. And Sean lives to travel.
Yes, he does. We had him on the beginning. We're going to get him back on for more about the wandering bladesmith.
Yep. Yep.
So,
He's a traveling man. All right, sir. Well, you have a great evening.
yep, let's tie this up. I'm going to shut this off, and then once I stop recording, and we'll just visit for just a second.
Okay.
As we say in the shop, stay sharp, American. Remember, Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. If you haven't met him yet, I invite you to grab your Bible, grab a friend, and if reach out if you need to. We'll try to help you out as we can. So appreciate you. Thank you for joining, and remember, like, share, subscribe, share, follow us. It helps us out quite a bit. So again, that's all, folks. Now, how do I
Baby needs a new pair of shoes.
right? All right, my stop button's disappeared.
Oh no.
Right? Is that it?
That's that's
Oh, for heaven's sake, my stop button disappeared. Oh, there it is. I got it.